What is up, everyone? How are y'all doing today? So I haven't been able to stream due to midterm, so I decided to make this video instead. So in this video, I'm going to be making what I think the next ban list should be for Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, and hopefully this will fix the game. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe down below, and comment down below what you think the next ban list should look like. And yeah, this ban list is going to be completely objective. No personal opinions involved. It's just going to be like what I think is best for the game. So let's get right into it. Alright, so first we're going to start off with the forbidden tier. So this is cards that I think that should be banned completely from the game. First off is going to be Baron de Fleur. Fuck this card, man. Like this card, like when it gets sent out onto the field, it absolutely ruins my day. So first of all, this card is a generic synchro. So like if you look at its material, it's one tuner plus one non-tuner monster. So that means like any monsters that add up to level 10 can end up summoning it. But I don't think that's like a good thing. I don't know who thought of this card like in the first place. They should have done like some like specific card like a warrior or something like that. And also like it negates one activation. From the last video I learned it's only one negate, it's not like per turn. And also can destroy one card on the field once per turn. But I feel like that's kind of too much, so I think they should just ban it. And also, the issue with like generic boss monsters like this is that a bunch of decks in their final board, they just end up having these monsters, which kind of ruins the identity of a deck, if you know what I mean. So I feel like a lot of generic boss monsters should be banned to promote more like reliance on a deck archetypes of boss monsters rather than just generic ones. So that means next up we're gonna be banning Borrowlord Savage Dragon. This one is also a generic synchro. Hold up. So yeah, one tuner plus one non-tuner. It's a level 8, so it's much easier, and it's not easier in a sense, but like, you can summon it the same way as you do Baron. This card has link. I mean, not what am I saying? This has counters, and it can remove one counter to negate once per turn. I feel like just like I hate negates. Like if you know me, I'm a free-to-play burn player, so that means I don't want any of my trap cards to be negated. So when this card is out on the field, it's just absolutely annoying. The next card we're going to be banning is IP Masquerena. I feel like this card opens up a lot of stuff during your opponent's turn, which I don't feel like is kind of necessary, because they can just summon an Appaloosa on your turn and start negating all your monsters' effects, which kind of just ruins your entire combo. And on top of that, it's only a Link 2 monster, so you only need 2 regular monsters to summon this card. So yeah, I feel like this card should be banned. Yeah, if you can see. So that's it for all the cards that I think that should be absolutely banned. If I wanted to be like way more on my opinion, I would have banned like every Labyrinth card. Like I absolutely hate playing as Labyrinth. I hope no one ever plays that deck ever again. If I had one wish, that's what it would be. I just don't like playing against the deck at all. So the only card that I would ban is Lady Labyrinth, but that's already at 1 copy. So if I end up banning that card, like that card is, I mean, the deck is absolutely unplayable, which I don't think is fair for the Labyrinth players, but like I absolutely still hate that deck. So next we're going to move on to limited. So some cards I think that are forbidden should be moved to limited, and there's some cards that aren't limited that I think should be moved to limited. The first card that I think that should be put in limited is Cyberstein. I absolutely love this card. Like if you guys look at its effect, it's you got to pay 5,000 life points that you can special summon 1 fusion monster from your extra deck in attack position. I feel like it's just kind of a control card in a sense, because you can just summon like the strongest fusion monster you know just by paying 5,000 life points. I remember playing this like in Duel Links with like the skill. It was like really fun. Even if they don't like send to limit, I hope they have like an event or something where you can play Cyberstein, because this card is just really fun to like just play, and it allows for more fun duels in a sense, because you could just, and it's also pretty easily negatable because you can just negate its effect with like imperm or something. So I feel like it should be limited to 1 copy in a sense. So next, I think Called by the Grave should be sent to limited. For some reason, every opponent I go against has Called by the Grave in their hand, even though Called by the Grave is already limited to 2 copies. So I feel, I don't understand how they do it, but like I just think this card should be limited to 1, so that people like it's hard to draw on your starting hand. So because like a lot of stuff like Max C and stuff, and yeah, if you do like Max C, I'm pretty sure this card is what negates it primarily. But I don't even use Max C that much, but whenever I do, like I can't even use Max C because of this card. So yeah, next I think Dio Bellstar should be limited. This card is kind of central to Snake Eyes decks. And I feel like people already run 3 copies of them, but I feel like they already have a spell card which allows them to search this card. So I think by limiting it to 1 copy, rather than just them getting their starting hand auto-starting the combo, they have to rely on the spell card, which allows them to draw the card. And also this card can just be resummoned back onto the field with one of its effects if it's sent to the graveyard. So I think like 1 copy should be fine, and it also ruins kind of the consistency of Snake Eyes. And like as a burn player, I love playing against Snake Eyes, but like if I try switching to any other deck, Snake Eyes is like really hard to play against. So yeah, I think setting that to 1 will affect this consistency a little bit. Next is Kashtira Arise Heart. I absolutely despise this card. I feel like there should only be 1 copy of this card, because taking it out already like it can banish 1 card on the field if it has 3 counters, and most of the time if you play it properly, you can have the 3 counters when you summon it onto the field. So I think limiting this card to 1 will reward the player who removes it, because then they got that boss monster out of the way. And I think people already run like 3 copies of this card, but I don't like think that's like, I don't think like, what's the point? Like, I feel like if you just limit it to 1, that's 1 boss monster, and if it's sent to the graveyard, then they have to like have a card that like gets it back from the graveyard. So I think limiting it to 1 should be fine. Next, I think Snake Eye Ash should be limited to 1 if not 2, like one of those 2, because this is basically the combo starter for Snake Eye. So if you have Bonfire now, so you can get Snake Eye Ash from that, but if you want to reduce how much you could, like how many copies you can get in your starting hand, so if it's hard to get in your starting hand, then you have to rely on just cards like Bonfire to actually get the card, which kind of ruins the consistency of the deck, which I think is absolutely necessary, because the Pyro monsters are getting more and more support. So yeah. Next, I think Sprite Elf should be limited to 1 copy. It's at 2 copies right now, I'm pretty sure. 2 or 3. Yeah, it's like 2 or 3 right now, but I think only 1 copy should be there. Sprites, I think, were over, like, they were way too targeted by the previous ban list, and so they're like absolutely gutted. But even with that in mind, I think Sprite Elf should be at 1 copy, because a lot of decks do rely on Sprite Elf. So if you get 1 Sprite Elf sent to the graveyard or banished, you don't have to worry about them summoning another one. So yeah, I think that this should be set to 1. Next, I think Red Reboot should be set to 1 copy. As a burn player, this card ruins your day, because you can't activate any more trap cards after you activate it. Red Reboot also counters Labyrinth. I don't see the reason to be just carrying 1 card or like multiple copies of this card in your deck just to counter that one time you go against Labyrinth. So I think this card should just be limited to 1. I think in another format it's also limited to 1. So I think this should stay 1. Next, we're going to semi-limited. I think floowandereeze and the magic map should be sent to 2. I feel like floowandereeze kind of like, I don't know, they had like way too much, like they targeted that card, like this archetype, way too much. This card is limited previously, but I think it should be sent to 2 copies. This basically allows you to start your floowandereeze combo during your opponent's turn if they normal summon a monster. I think being at 1 kind of makes the deck way like too inconsistent. So I think keeping it at 2 will allow for a possibility to draw it in your hand. So that allows the deck to like run better. Next, I think Big Welcome Labyrinth should be semi-limited. There's like, because like they have so many, like every time I destroy like a trap card, this card keeps coming back. I just don't want that many copies of that card to deal with. So I think semi-limiting it or limiting this card will make Labyrinth much more like inconsistent, because Snake Eyes and Labyrinth are like the 2 best decks in the game. So I think like ruining their consistency will kind of like weaken them, not like absolutely gut them, but it will just weaken them a bit. So the next card is going to be Ariana, the Labyrinth Servant. This is basically the combo starter for Ariana on the first turn. I think this card should be semi-limited because people just draw it in their starting hand like way too much. I think there should be some option of you not drawing it in your starting hand, so by semi-limiting it, you do introduce that option. Next, like I said previously, sprites were too heavily targeted. I think Sprite Jet should be brought to semi-limited from limited. This can allow you to basically allow like sprite combos like much easier, because you can start with Sprite Jet in your hand. And this allows you to get your sprite trap spell and traps. So I feel like yeah, because like now, like when you do sprite, you only can do sprite mixed with another deck. You can't really have a pure sprite deck. But I feel like that's kind of unhealthy. So I think we should allow sprite to be function on its own. So by bringing back Sprite Jet, hopefully that can be accomplished. Next is Super Heavy Samurai Motorbike. So this card allows you to change the level of another monster to allow you to do any summoning, and it's also a tuner. So like my biggest issue with Super Heavy Samurai is that they always summon like Baron onto the field, which I feel like I don't even know what the boss monster of Super Heavy Samurai is, because they never like use it that much. It just summons onto the field, and then they rely on Baron to do the negates and all that. So I feel like that banning Baron will also help the deck, but I think semi-limiting Super Heavy Samurai Motorbike will also kind of like ruin the consistency, because people normally run 3 copies of this on the deck, but this has a lot of playing potential, so that's why I think it should be semi-limited. Alright, so this is my hot take. I don't even know if this is a hot take or not. I think IB, the World Challenge Justice Star, should be brought to semi-limited. It's banned right now, but I think like from what I've read, this card is only banned because of Halka Fibrax. But I don't think Halka Fibrax was even released at the time when it was banned, but it was like in preparation or something like that. But like now that Halka Fibrax is banned, I don't see the reason for them not to bring back IB, because I love playing World Chalice decks, but I kind of need this card to absolutely like bring it to its like higher potential. So I feel like it being banned doesn't, like right now the only time I can play it is if I bring like a Sprite plus World Chalice, that combination. So I think bringing back IB, hopefully semi-limited, will allow the deck to be much stronger. So yeah. Alright, now for my unlimits. First off, we're gonna do Psy Frame Gear Gamma. I think Psy Frame Gear Gamma is like one of the best designed hand traps. I don't know if you can call it that. It's one of the best hand traps, because you need to, when your opponent activates a monster effect while you control no monsters, you have to special summon this card from your hand and 1 Psy Frame Driver. So first off, you need to have that 1 Psy Frame Driver in your deck. So that's basically a 2-card cost for this 1 card right here. And also, when you summon this card onto the field, it gets banished that same turn. So like you don't have to like worry about like your opponent just having that on the field to start their combo the next turn. So I feel like this card shouldn't be limited to 2, and it should be brought back to 3 in a sense, because of how well designed this card is. Next, I think Sprite Starter should be brought back to unlimited, because this allows you to special summon 1 Sprite monster, but you also lose life points equal to its original attack. This card was semi-limited before, and I feel like that kind of ruined its like, the Sprite deck is absolutely kind of like dead in a sense. But you need to like play with other decks, so I think having this card at 3 will allow you to just play sprites properly. Next is Destiny Hero Celestial. I have no idea why this card is banned in the first place. I think it should just be brought back to 3 copies, because I don't really see a problem with it. It's also just like a rare, so like yeah, I don't really see a problem with this card. And like if you know what the problem with this card, just make sure to comment down below. But I think this card should be unlimited. I was actually surprised when I was looking through the bans to see what cards are banned, and this card is on there, because I think in the TCG and OCG they have 3 copies of this card, so I don't know why. And next, final card, I think floowandereeze and Empin should be brought back to 3. I feel like having it at 1, like I don't even know why this card is like brought to 1 in the first place. I don't know what it affects. People, like, if it gets sent to the graveyard or banished, you have other cards that can do that in the first place. Like, I don't really see the point of it being limited, so I think it should be unlimited, just because I don't really see the effect of having it as semi-limited or unlimited. And I'll just allow people to have how many copies as they want, so yeah. If you guys agree with the list or disagree with the list, make sure to comment down below any cards you also want added or like removed from my list. So yeah, this is just my opinion. Feel free to educate me about any of the picks that I did, and make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And thank you guys so much for the support recently. And have a good day, guys.